test of VR recording here. See a Crystal Pimax OG RTX 4090 set up in my some pit here at the house. This is the Magnitude 3 F4U-1D Corsair. As you can see, we're on the deck of an Essex class carrier, getting ready to depart. This is one of 4 flat tops in a 19 ship formation. You can see a hospital ship, Fletcher class destroyer. There's one of the other Essex. There's an Essex towards the horizon with another Fletcher destroyer. Let's see a USS Iowa just above the wingtips there. And the 4th Essex carrier. We can just make out one of the other Fletchers. There's a Victory cargo ship. Fletcher in the distance. A couple of Oilers. And another Fletcher behind us. So, take off. We'll do a quick trip to show some of these assets from the community that we're using, and try and make a landing on the Essex. So we'll get the RMI set up here real quick. Back, get the pins unlocked so we can lower the wings. Really, other than finding it a little more challenging than expected, the Corsair's been a really nice addition. I'm really enjoying flying it. The naval aviation operations from World War II always been fascinating to me, and this really adds a nice level. Alright, so oil cooler, cowl flaps, emissions on both. Trim should be set 6 right, 1 up, 6 right. Give it a little bit more because I've found that it's usually not quite enough. Alright, so power's coming up. Look for about 45 inches. Nose is coming up. Get a little gyroscopic precession from that rotation. There we go. Off the deck. Positive brake gears coming up. Clearing turn away from the boat. Alright, first notch flaps up. Second notch up. Take a look at the medical ship here. I'm going to pull it back to about 25-50 RPM and back to about 30 inches of manifold pressure. Corsair, and more so than really most of the other warbirds, really requires a lot of trim, constant trimming in the back. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll close the canopy, quiet it down a little bit. Alright, so this first stop here is going to be our medical ship. It's really pretty cool. Go buzz one of these Fletchers here. First, we'll swing by this Essex class carrier. So this particular setup we can launch from any of 3 Essex carriers. The one in the middle there is the only one we can land on. It's a limitation of the ship model. Outside. Really is pretty good looking. Sounds are getting better. Still a little tinny and flat to my thinking, but definitely serviceable. So, you see some Corsairs on the deck. Nice. So you'll see we're 2550 RPM and about 30 inches, running about 160 knots. I want to slow down here shortly. Go swing by this Fletcher off in the distance, get a good look at that. And then we'll set up for a normal kind of overhead approach and hopeful landing at the Essex over there. So this is a Fletcher tin can destroyer. Really beautifully modeled. Again, this is a free community mod. Folks got together, did the 3D modeling and texturing all on their own. And since we don't have any official assets yet, I think for the Pacific Theater, we'll just assembled a series of user mods. But you can see this is really, really well done, very pretty. Got all 5 of the 5-inch guns. Alright, so we're going to go swing by the battleship Iowa here, which is off to the port side of the Essex. And we'll set up for a landing on the Essex. So pretty much every power change in the Corsair should be accompanied by a minimum of 2 trim changes. That'll be a rudder trim change and a elevator or pitch trim change. And that's just what it takes to try and keep the ship, keep the airplane rather. If you add power, you need to add a little bit of nose down trim and right rudder trim. If you remove power, that should be accompanied with more left rudder trim and more nose up trim. And you really just need to get that into a pattern. So here's the Iowa. So again, really good looking model. Real battle wagon there. So we're going to climb up We'll stop at 300 feet because that's pattern altitude for these World War II carriers instead of 800 feet that we have with the more modern jets. And we're going to slow down to, we want to pass the boat on the starboard side at about 120 knots. So clearly we need to slow down. We're going to pull it back to about 25 inches. I'm not going to retrim for that. I'm just going to let the airplane just carry some left rudder. Go ahead and open the canopy. I'm not going to retrim for pitch either. So we're basically turning through to the recovery course, which is going to be around 270-ish. Close to 300 feet. Start putting some power back in. Right, there's our 300 feet. This should take about 30 inches. So I'm constantly trimming. And we want is level flight, 120 knots. Okay. It's a little high. A little bump of trim. See, once it starts to slow down, the nose will come down. But general flight sims are not, I think, as easy to fly as real airplanes. The real world closest I've flown to the Corsair, the single engine prop, is the Pilatus PC-12, which was about 1,200 horsepower and 10,500 pounds. Corsair in this condition is up to 2,000 horsepower, and probably right now we weigh right around 10,000 pounds as well. So I'm going to start a timer, crossing the bow of the boat. Supposed to go a mile in front of the boat. That's about 40 seconds because we've got about 90 knots speed difference between us and the boat. We're going to get to our 40-second mark. We're going to make a level 30-degree left-hand turn, 30 degrees of bank, that is, and then get configured for landing. So there's 40 seconds, here comes the turn, lead with the rudder, and gears coming down, gears moving, trim, 2 notches of flaps in, trim, put the hook down, another 2 notches of trim, or flaps rather. We want about 30 degrees of flaps. We ballooned quite a bit here, which is common. Again, this is a real handful. So our objective is to be abeam the boat about 3/4 of a mile, 200 feet, and between 90 and 100 knots. Routinely, that's going to take about 30 inches to maintain. Turned up. slowly work our way down, and right there as the leading edge touches the boat, begin our turn. I found it's best if you can just set power and leave it and not make power changes. So we're about 90 knots coming through the 90-degree turn. That's okay. We're slowing down a little bit. I'm going to put a little power in. Now I got to carry some top rudder. We don't want to climb though. Alright, a little high, touch fast, and cut. Alright, so now there should be somebody else following us, so we unlock the wings, move the switch, we get the hook up, now for the hard part. We've got to take this big girl, and without the aid of people parking us, I'm going to try and get up to a parking space here. Now, before I continue, you can see there is a whole ass Corsair hiding in front of us. We really can't see it. We're going to take the joint between the flap and the trailing edge of the wing. We're going to take that to the next expansion joint here in the deck. And that should get us parked. All right. Okay, we'll go ahead and secure the airplane. Temperatures are all good. Okay, and we'll go ahead and idle cut off. Alright, and it switches off. Okay, so you can see we've basically managed the same level of spacing as the other aircraft on deck. We're a little further to the port, but this is one of the differences between landing with an angle deck modern carrier and these older ones is the aircraft parked at the front of the carrier. And these guys are all here while you're coming into land. Ideally, the Essex will have a barrier at about the island, just kind of a netting that comes up, but that's not been implemented yet. But so this is again an Essex kind of set up as a recovery deck. Anyway, that's what we've got. Really enjoying the Corsair. It's a bit of a handful, as you can see, but very rewarding to fly. So stay tuned for more. Thanks.